I do a lot of dispersed camping alone, and every place I've found to sleep while car camping in my Prius starts the same way. At home. I am snowed in today, and there's only so many times you can practice piano and stare out of a window. So instead, I'm going to sit down and plan my next car camping trip. I am going to share with you how I go about doing this, how I find free campsites or spots where I can sleep in the car, and that's all I have to say. We're going to sit back, relax, and play on our computer. Now, for most people, this is probably like a 5-minute process, but I managed to drag it out. I will do this honestly whenever I have a few free minutes, days on end. I enjoy finding camp spots and just kind of looking over maps. Once I check the calendar, get my days picked out, I message my boss and let her know I will not be around. Next, we've got to convince the family they don't need us for the week. You guys don't need me here this weekend, but go, then you guys can have the place all to yourself. And getting to the more serious preparations, gotta check the weather. So, what I do is look at some nearby cities that kind of give me an idea of the weather in that area. Typing in Roanoke, possible snow, Beckley, West Virginia, snow, Bryson City, North Carolina, snow, Atlanta, Georgia, 60 degrees with maybe some rain towards the end of the week. West Liberty, Kentucky, rain and snow, Blowing Rock, snow. I think there's a clear winner there. I would love to travel up north and hang out in the snow, but I worry about the forest roads not being cleared enough for me to get the Prius in and out safely. So we're going to head south into the Georgia area and see if we can't find some dispersed camping sites over there. So I guess we should clarify what dispersed camping is. It's also known as wild camping, boondocking, overlanding, and in generally you're camping outside of a designated campground. Usually these places are going to be in national forests, BLM land, wildlife management areas. Typically, you're going to be primitive camping, meaning that there won't be facilities, meaning no bathrooms, no showers. And most of these spots are going to allow you to camp for up to 14 days, which I think is pretty great. You'll definitely be on your own more, so be as prepared as you can be. I actually have a video on how I stay safe when I'm car camping. If you're interested, I'm going to try to attach that link here or maybe here, just somewhere around. Okay. I think finding a good place really depends a lot on the purpose of your trip. If you want to go check out some small towns or attend a festival, you might not mind stealth camping in a city. If you are more interested in what the campsite looks like, say, for example, my husband, his idea is to de stress by a campfire, have a beer, listen to some music. He's going to prioritize the actual spot a little bit more, and he definitely is going to be looking for a little more solitude. Maybe you're just passing through and don't want to spend a lot of money on a hotel. I typically plan my trips around hiking. So I am going to look for good hiking areas first and then be a little more flexible about where I sleep so that I can be conveniently located to the trails I want to go to. So I usually start with all trails. That brings me to my next step. Open up the all trails map and I go through the filters, click the ones that apply to me, like hiking, set the length of the trail, check my elevation gain, check dog friendly because I always have Levi with me. I personally prefer loops over out and back, so I'm going to check that and see if we get lucky. So it looks like there's about 11 trails that meet my criteria. You can scroll through the pictures here and click on them, and it'll give you more details, how long the trail is, the elevation gain. You can even continue to scroll and see that there's reviews. So I did decide on the Blood Mountain area. I liked some of the trails over there and it looked like they had a lot of options. So now we're going to find a place to sleep. The first app I usually check is iOverlander. You'll hear this one a lot. It's extremely popular. And when you pull up the app, you'll see they have established campsites as well as dispersed camping sites. Just scrolling around, I noticed in the Blood Mountain area, the closest one looks like it's this Dix Creek Wildlife Management Area. So we're going to find out a little more about that one. We're going to click on that, scroll through the photos, read the reviews, and if we like it, which we do, we're going to copy the coordinates, put it into maps, and see exactly where we're looking. And you can see there's a few other nice trails around this general area. I don't just stick to one resource for the campsites. I try to use multiple just to get a general feel of the place from different users and different reviews. Another site I like to use is freecampsites.net. So you can see on free campsites, they have a few different options, not as many. It's an older website, but I still like to resource it. One of the nice things about this one, it does actually highlight whether or not you get cell service. And you can see there's more photos, which is always helpful, and more reviews. Same thing with the GPS coordinates. Copy, paste it into maps. The Dirt is a good one that will give you a list of campsites as well as Campendium. Some people use Onyx Off-Road. It's a newer one for me. So far, I'm honestly not that impressed with it. I seem to be the only one who feels that way. When I'm on Google Maps, I like to look at the nearby area from the campsite I am trying to stay at. So looking down here, you can see Crow Falls Parking. I'm going to click on that and see if there's a picture of the parking lot or the road to get in, which there is not. So that's not very helpful. A little further down here, we have Waters Creek Falls. Take a look at this one. Scrolling through, I'm just again looking for parking lot. There we go, there's one. And even though I can't see the road in, what I can see is that there are small cars in the parking lot. So that lets me know I don't necessarily need high clearance or four-wheel drive, which I don't have in the Prius. So that is good. There's one more here, the Water Creek Day Use area. We're going to click on that one and, ooh, this is good. Perfect. Look at that right there. It even has the rules for Dix Creek dispersed camping. So just by clicking around the map, I'm able to see what other people have posted. Another thing I do on Google Maps is I will follow the road to the nearest intersection, click on that, just so I get an idea again of what the road looked like. Some of you probably drive Forerunners or Jeeps and could care less about this, but in a Prius, I kind of have to do a little extra homework just to make sure my car can get through. Safety should always be in the back of your head. So one of the things I personally like to do when I'm on maps is look at the neighboring towns and see where the nearest hospital is. Because rumor has it, if you cannot find a place to stay for the night, something doesn't feel good about the site you're in, you can go to a hospital and park near the emergency room entrance. Probably going to want to stealth camp there and not advertise that you're sleeping in your car, but it's a safe parking lot to sleep in and a good backup. Another backup I haven't had to use, but is often talked about, is Walmart. A lot of Walmarts allow people to park in their parking lot overnight. Just be safe about it, park under a light. Probably want to go in and ask the managers to make sure it's okay, and they'll usually give you a spot. So I'm told, park on the left, park on the right, park in the back. They'll give you the idea of where you need to be. Other ones are Cracker Barrel. You can always look for truck stops like a Love's or a Pilot or Flying J. They can be a little funny about overnight parkings, but usually just one night there isn't a big deal. There was one time I ended up sleeping at a Love's travel stop because I had arrived in the forest about an hour before sunset, drove around, and it got dark, and I was never able to find the campsite. Nonetheless, I ended up at Love, slept there overnight. It wasn't a big deal. So it's always good to know where those things are in the general area in case you get into a situation like I did. So whether it be stealth or I'm camping in the wilderness, this is the process I use to find places to sleep when I'm camping in the Prius. I will continue to research this so that I have a few spots picked out as backups when I head out to Blood Mountain, Georgia next week. Just a quick reminder, we want to make sure that we leave no trace at these campsites. A lot of these free dispersed campsites are being taken away and closed because people are disrespecting the land. So typically you want to make sure you're finding a campsite that has already been camped at. You're not creating a new one. Easy ways to do that. Obviously, you're going to see a cleared area with tire marks and usually a fire ring, but we want to minimize our impact on the land. Also, if you bring it, you got to take it back with you. That even includes going to the bathroom. Nothing trashes a campsite more than finding and toilet paper everywhere. So please just remember that with this style of camping, you're not going to have garbage cans handy. You've got to find a way to tote all of that back with you and dispose of it properly. I hope you found this information useful. And if you want to follow along on our next camp trips, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those. Hope everybody's staying warm out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, you're not in this one, buddy. No. All right. Let me continue. Okay? Then we'll go for walks.